Tell us about these new fighter jets, billions of dollars, of course. Are they going to happen? What's the strategic importance of them? And how critical is this to the coalition's view for Australian defence?
I think this is an important first step for the coalition to decide that it needs to take defence more seriously. And in a week where we have China doing its aggressive circumnavigation of the country, isn't it a great idea that we should have more air power to defend Australia's interests, including, as Andrew Hastie said on Sky earlier today, with anti-maritime shipping capability. So this is a good thing. It's actually something that I and my colleagues at Strategic Analysis Australia have been advocating for. And in particular, we would like to see the government give consideration to a variant of the F-35, which is the one that's capable of landing on ships, the short takeoff and landing variant, because you can put that to sea and you can extend Australia's reach by doing that. Defence, of course, would say no, but I think this is the time for lateral thinking. And so I absolutely applaud the government for bringing this decision back. It was one that Labor cancelled in order to save money for the submarines that we won't see until the late 2030s. But we need more strike capability sooner. And the F-35 is an excellent aircraft coming off production lines right now. So we should be able to see it well within the decade to strengthen defence. And I think that's a good thing.
Now, Peter, you wrote in The Australian your 10 points on the Zelensky spat with Donald Trump in the White House. I was intrigued by your idea that J.D. Vance messed up. I think that's arguable. I don't know if that's correct or not. But you think that he's a weak link in the Trump administration. Explain your thinking.
Not necessarily a weak link. I think, in fact, what he is going to be is, he's an articulate, smart, somewhat impatient young man. And I think that he's not really understanding that if you're going to serve in Donald Trump's cabinet, more than anything else, what you need is deference to the president's agenda. And if Vance has an interest in wanting to be the next president, at some stage in this term, probably after the midterms, he's going to have to think about how does he put some distance between himself and Donald Trump in order to position for a tilt at the presidency next time round. So given all of those things, I don't think Vance is going to find it easy or comfortable to stay in the vice president's job for terribly long, certainly not in the latter half of this term. And I think he's going to want to, because of his own temperament, apart from anything else, carve out a position for himself as a next candidate rather than being the vice to Donald Trump.
Rita?
Highly unlikely. All those traits that you've pointed out are absolutely accurate, but they're precisely what Trump loves about Vance and why he's been such a valuable addition to the administration. And he doesn't need to distance himself from Trump because he's not going to have to go up against Trump. He's done his 2 terms. But I'm interested in what you see is going to happen next with Ukraine. If America says the tap is turned off, we're not funding this, if Europe doesn't pick up the slack and support Ukraine, what is going to happen? I mean, is there anything that can happen other than a peace deal that is going to save the country? Because we don't want to see more death and destruction and more people needlessly dying.
Well, regrettably, that is going to continue to happen, and most of it now is happening by the Russians. I find it quite remarkable that we can be talking about a peace deal when the Russians are still raining missiles down on Ukrainian cities. But yes, I agree, it's not sustainable short-term or long-term. I think we'll see 2 things happen. I think we will see Europe step up to provide more military support for Ukraine. And that's a good outcome, Rita. It's something that they should do. It's very directly about security on their doorstep. And they need to understand that they can no longer ride on the security coattails of the United States. But the second thing I think we'll see happen is that Zelensky will come back to the deal over rare earth resources that Donald Trump was wanting to see signed after that lunch after the Oval Office debacle, which didn't get signed. It may not have been explained terribly well, but I think it is a good deal for Zelensky because what it does is it buys an American commercial interest and an American economic presence in Ukraine. And I think President Trump is absolutely right to say that that's the core of a security guarantee.
Absolutely, 100%.
Zelensky may want to argue for more of it, but I think it's the best deal on the table right now. And to me, that would suggest that sooner or later, probably sooner, Zelensky will come back and we'll see an agreement signed.
Fantastic. And part 2 of the Oval Office will be great television, I'm sure. Might not be as good as part 1.
Yes.
That's right. Thanks so much, Peter. Always great to have you here on Outsiders.